Hi, my name is Björn Martin Klaus, and I am a German bassist, singer, songwriter from currently residing in Mainz, Germany. I was born in Nairobi, Kenya, and raised in Washington, D.C., Bonn, Germany, and in Beijing, China. And I studied jazz double bass in Rotterdam and in Mainz. I was accepted to the conservatories for a total of 4 times, always no problem. I had the talent, but I didn't have the health after something happened in 2005, and so I was forced to exit the conservatory. And in 2024, and already before that, I had started recording for years. I started recording songs with bass and vocals and samples and in different instruments, and to create unique tunes with interesting lyrics and catchy hooks, and sometimes atmospheric pieces. I have recorded several albums. I'm not a performing musician. I perform with my jazz duo and sometimes with a big band, and also in an acoustic trio, and other projects. But BMK is solely up to now a recording project. As I said, I have already several albums and EPs out. You can find them all on Ampwall or different streaming services. And it's next to writing books, which I also do, and newspaper articles. It's my most favorite thing in the world to do, and to just create songs and music. And so this interview will be about this project. I would describe the sound of my music as very bass heavy. I have a very distinctive bass sound because my bass is very old and sounds in a certain way, my double bass. I also have a certain voice. I'm not a real highly educated singer, a trained singer, but I have a certain distinctive voice that a lot of people have told me they find very pleasing, and I add all that to a mixture of samples, other instruments, and sound effects, and all that creates something that some people have called an multi-layered listening experience. I also sometimes delve into the darker realms. I have some pieces that I create. One piece I created with the bow, just the bow, and it has some very dark elements to it. Also, my songs are not exactly cheerful, and they explore dark topics, or also in a coded way, sometimes not so coded way. You can expect bass heavy, let's say profound singer-songwriter pop from somebody who was trained as a jazz musician and who always wants to create something new.
Please stay safe and lanterns gloom and magnify the flowers bloom at the river.
The stories I try to tell through music are very influenced by real life experiences. mostly, I have to admit, by heartbreak. And it's always been a way for me to convey emotions like sadness and loss and grief. And but sometimes I also just tell stories that that create some kind of fantasy world. For example, I have a song called A Capricorn Dance, where it's about an invitation to join the Capricorn dance, climb the mountain where the eagles soar, and just dance away. And for example, but I also have songs like The Depression Diary, where I talk about what happened after somebody stopped writing me, ghosted me, and what the depression that created inside myself. And so it's always, mostly it's a form of diary, but also about storytelling in a different way. For example, I also have an album where I made music out of a dark calendar somebody gave to me as a present, and I just tried to describe the landscapes in the calendar. That's an EP that I made. But I also recorded a film noir album where I dove into different aspects of crime storytelling, like, for example, the cops or the detective or the dame or the mob. And so every album is different, has a different topic, but this emotional part, the grief and sadness and the saying goodbye, always has been a major topic. I'll come back to that later. Music has a way of channeling all your emotions. We all know that. Everybody that makes music knows that. I have found that in times of crisis, I can rely on working on an album or a song to digest those and process those emotions. For example, I was going through a separation from my best friend because I had been in love with her for about 10 years, and we always tried to make the friendship work, but it didn't work. And I had a breakdown. I was in a mental institution. I have a certain diagnosis, schizoaffective disorder. And after I came out of the closed ward, I had a very long depressive phase. And the only way for me to get out of that and out of the bed was to start working on a new project. And I started working on my EP, The American Sound, where I combined music with video. I created a video show, like when you go, as if you were going to the cinema in the 1920s, 30s, or 40s, and recorded music for it. I think about 5 tracks. And that work was very crucial to my health. Just the way of keeping your mind off bad things, and the process of creating, like pulling something out of yourself and really building something. I can imagine that it would also help to build a table or a door or whatever, but we musicians, we build music, and just the joy of a new idea or new idea or a new lyric that fits can be really can get you out of the darkest place, at least for a while. And so that's what I did, and after I found that out, I now know that when I feel bad, the only thing I have to do is to sit down at my computer with my basses and record something, and 100% of the time I feel better afterwards. Maybe not perfect, I don't feel like completely healed, but I feel much better, and I have a product that I can share with friends, and and if I have a real project, like an album or something, this can go over, take weeks, and doing this every day, and this process can really be a healing process where you come out at the other end and feel like you've crossed that bridge. Yeah. The concept of noir, like these dark themes, detectives, dames, and everything. I always loved darker, not always, but I started liking darker crime shows at a certain age. And I have my best friend. He is a very he's a film noir expert. He studied that at the university, and he really gave me an impression of Raymond Chandler and all these big films and everything. And we talked about it a lot. But I mostly get I haven't seen most of these old films because the tempo is too slow for me. I get bored. But I like the aesthetic, and I will probably catch up with these movies sooner or later. And I recorded an entire album, actually 2 albums. It's 1 album, but it was remixed and remastered by my sound engineer. The first version is only my mix. It's called Detective Stories, Memories of Love and Crime and Death. And it's an album where I completely go into this topic, where every song is a different theme, a different feeling, a different color, and it's always about either detectives and or dames, about policemen, about criminals, about the mob, and they're all deeply romantic. I mean, not like in a cheesy way, but like in a storytelling way, kind of, and they are not exactly film noir music, not like exactly what you know from the movies, but like more like singer-songwriter tunes with that dark atmosphere, and that the lyrics could be from movies or series that have noir or crime as a topic. And I was really excited to make this album because I felt right at home with it, and it was a really pleasant experience because I worked weeks on the songs, and people have said it's my best album so far. My best friend loves the album more than anyone, and he especially likes the last tune, The Mobster Wife's Funeral. Yeah, that's how noir fits into my music, and I think maybe there will be a Detective Stories Part 2 one day, but for now I'm looking at different themes for my albums. My life has been great adventure on the one hand. On the other hand, it has been a lot of hellish years, as I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder at the age of 25 in 2005, and all hell broke loose, so the world turned upside down. I couldn't complete my studies, my jazz double bass studies. I had tried for 3 more times after that, but they all failed because I was just overwhelmed with what studying as a jazz musician meant and all the professional things that you have to be aware of. And so I was forced to stick with my guns and just create something with that was what's inside of me and what makes me happy. And ever since, I've quit my dream of being a professional jazz musician on the double bass, and went this way of BMK and started recording my albums more and focusing on that and on writing my books, my mystery crime novels in German. I have been very, very happy, and that's probably the last 2 or 3 years were the happiest of my entire life so far. Back in 1997, I joined my first band called Soda Jerk. It was an alternative rock band, and that was the first time I experienced the joy of music and being in a band. I mean, I played violin and electric bass before, but it was the first time that I experienced it as a group, and also the feedback you can get from people around you when you create something and the joy of creating. So that was the first time in my life when I felt like a cool person and somebody interesting, and that was very important to me back at that time. Also very influential on my project BMK was, as I said, the separation from my best friend, the grieving of that relationship, and all albums up to except the Detective Stories, my latest album, were all created with that background of grief and sadness, and I processed all that relationship problem, the whole relationship problem, through that music. And I think that has influenced my music because the lyrics are quite romantic and sad and very personal. Sometimes they're escapism into another world. The music is very atmospheric. It reflects my inner condition at that time. To have some very dark, depressive moments and moods, and and those two things. I think my illness and my breakup, my terrible, horrible year-long breakup, were the most influential on the BMK project. I hope people can kind of find themselves maybe in the lyrics and lose themselves in different atmospheres, dark to joyful, and I hope they can relate to the music and to the feeling that is conveyed from the songs. I hope they find some catchy melodies that stick in their heads, and I hope they can finish an album and really have the feeling they had an immersive experience, and will come back to listening again. I hope they will share it with friends, and I hope or on social media, but that is always that actually rarely happens. I hope that maybe my songs, one of my songs, especially the ones that talk about depression or grief, that they help another person in a difficult situation. That would really mean the most to me. And also that musicians also, or that people that like music, that they find my music creative and interesting and suspenseful, and they just enjoy listening to it wherever they are, in the car or at home. And I just hope it's as great as an experience for them. Maybe not as great, but a good experience for them, hopefully as much as I had making the music and putting all my love into it. Well, I've always watched people fight about that topic, and I see the people on the one side who are disgusted and the people on the other side who love it. There's rarely somebody in between, but I am one of these in-between people, because I don't hate it. I would eat it if there were not many other options, or if somebody put it in front of me, and I would probably enjoy it, but it's not something that's not my favorite pizza I would order. My go-to pizza is always barbecue sauce, ground beef, artichokes, and onions. Don't ask me why, but I love that, and that's the one I would go for. And exactly. If somebody would say, here, I'm making Hawaiian pizza, that's what we call it in Germany, Pizza Hawaii, I would say, sure, fine, no problem, but I would never choose it by myself. My vocal process is fairly simple. I use this C214 AKG microphone, and I connect it to my Focusrite 2i2 interface. I usually hold it in my hand because I don't have the appropriate thing to connect it with the stand. And then I use a certain distance, like this. I use like this distance to avoid popping sounds. And then I usually, when I have my bass line recorded, I write down the lyrics. That can happen very fast. I write lyrics very quickly. For some reason, I have maybe you could call it talent there to write English lyrics that make sense and sound good very easily. I usually doesn't take me more than 20 minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes to write the lyrics for a song. And then I start recording. People have said that my voice sounds a bit subdued. That's because I'm mostly recording like this night. I'm recording from my apartment, and I have neighbors, so I can't like belt out a real loud sound. I can only sing at a certain level. I'm also not a trained singer, as I already said. I'm more like an amateur singer, and then I usually record the main vocals. And also I have a lot of fun with recording backing vocals, like different voices, and like a low voice and a high voice, and different intervals, and for example, a voice that goes up chromatic, like in half steps and whole steps, and then a voice that goes down parallel, and and then I give them some. I don't like actually. I'm not really good at giving voices reverb because they always sound muddy when I do that. I haven't figured out yet how to give them reverb without them sounding muddy. But usually I just leave them clean. What I like to do is I like to pan them left and right so they get fuller and like hard left, hard right. I double the track and then I do a hard left and hard right. And what I like to do also is when I want like a chorus effect, I take when I double the track, I move the second track like a millisecond to the right, and then you get this kind of chorus effect. You shouldn't do it too far because then you have this slap back too much. But that's one of the things I do. I like to pan it hard and move it like a bit to the side, and then you get a quite full sound, at least to my mixing knowledge, which is actually quite limited. Currently, I'm working on two different things musically. That is, for the one part, it's a new project of mine. It's called The Devil and the Deep Blue Me. It's a kind of wordplay on the song Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, the jazz tune, The Devil and the Deep Blue Me. And it's supposed to bring me back to those days when I just recorded with bass and vocals. So far it's been one tune has been created. You can find it on Ampol. And I found that I tried to make it tried just to play the bass and create a tune with just my bass. But I ended up using the vocals and my double bass and some samples, so I find it very hard. Although I love pure bass solo albums, I find it very hard with my limited skills to create solo bass tracks. But that's what this actually is supposed to be all about. It's my new project. I want to create an album where I mostly play electric bass and create songs just with the electric bass and mostly no vocals. But I have to say, both projects are hard to create. So I might just work on a new BMK album. I'll see where the wind takes me, and and you never know when the next inspiration hits you, but those were some ideas I had. I see my project develop further in the next couple of years. I would like to put together a live band one day when I'm feeling more physically active and financially stable. I would like to perform my albums or one album or several songs live. And I would also like to find a label. That would be cool. Although they say that if you're looking for a label, you're not ready yet. Labels have to come looking for you. I don't know if that's nonsense or not. And those are two things I'm trying to achieve. Yeah, and just most important thing is just to stay creative, just keep being creative and just put stuff out there. And really what I would like to do is something I usually do is I create a song in 24 hours and then I put it out. and that's something I want to change. I want to really, like some of my albums are, like really work for weeks or even 1.5 months on them and really produce something worthy of the listener, and yeah, put out more albums and just explore different topics and just see where this creative journey takes me. So I want to thank Jayla and the Schaden Collective for having me, for giving me this opportunity to speak about my music and my work as BMK. I want to thank you for listening to me and bearing with me through my mediocre English, and yeah, you can support me by visiting my pages. That is my homepage, www.steamshipstudios.com, or my Ampwall page, where you can find under bmk.ampwall.com. You can find all my albums there, and EPs, and you can also check out, if you like, you can check out my YouTube channel. That's also at steamship.studios. If you just search for Björn Martin Klaus or BMK, you'll find it. I also have a YouTube music page, but I have a really personal YouTube page as well. And you can find, for example, you can find my video show, The American Sound. You can find it on YouTube at the movies, American Sound at the movies. And I would love if you would just like and share and comment and tell me what you like about my music, if you like it. And you can also buy my albums, of course, but I always the most happy if I get some feedback by people who got something out of the music, and yeah, that's always a little reward for me after all the work. So thanks again, Jayla and Schaden Collective, and I wish you all a happy summer and good times, and yeah, I had fun. It was a really cool thing to do. So take care. Bye bye. When I wake up in the morning, I think